In the Philippines, we protected certain areas. Some of them were actually really denuded reefs, nothing in there. But after 8 years, or even as early as 4 years, it has already resulted in increase of fishery products, not just in the reserve, but also in the neighboring areas. There had been a well-documented case studies in the Philippines, the Apo Reef. It is the overall size of the reef is only about 100 hectares, and the community decided to set aside 22 to 25 hectares as a no-take zone, meaning no fishing whatsoever, not even hook and line, not even traps. But the community were able to fish using fishery-friendly methods like hook and line and traps. They can fish around it. And in a period of 20 years, the catch has increased by 50% on these two groups of fishes that were studied and being followed. And the fish census, so in the reserve they could not catch anything, so the only way to know if the fish stock has increased is to go and do visual surveys. And scientists from Australia and from the Philippines have been doing this every year for 20 years, and they found that the fish stock has actually quadrupled just for these two groups of fish. So the catch around the protected area increased by 50%. The fish stock inside the reserve has quadrupled, and it has also served as a nursery, and it spills over because there's too many fish inside, so they moved out of the reserved area into the reef and even into the open ocean. So it benefited the neighboring areas as well as the pelagic open ocean fisheries. The fishermen didn't have to go far anymore. Before the reserve, they had to spend a lot of money for petrol, a lot of time, a lot of effort, and come back with 1 kilogram in one day or even less. But now they don't have to go far. Some of them even use just paddles, no engine whatsoever, and they don't have to go far. They just fish around the area in their own reef, and they catch fish a lot bigger than what they used to before the reserve. More fish, bigger fish, better quality fish, less effort, and big catches. This particular area, 22 hectares, it had an investment of maybe 2 million Taiwanese dollars. And eventually, after 20 years, it was able to produce annually, that's every year, it's not just one time, 900,000 Taiwanese dollars to up to 1.3 million Taiwanese dollars. So that much. And that is every year. So if they continue to practice the same friendly fishing methods, then they will be able to reap that benefit forever. It can heal itself only if allowed to. If we just remove toxic materials, if we don't over-harvest it, we don't have to do anything. It will heal itself, especially in tropical areas, subtropical areas. It can happen quite easily. So basically, at the end, that would be the cheapest rehabilitation method. Just remove whatever it doesn't belong there. At the beginning, there might be a little bit of negative impact. If the fishery has already gone down and it has almost collapsed, then it may not be a big of a difference, setting aside a certain area for protection. The case study that I mentioned took place in a coral reef, which is quite a different environment from the estuary, from the situation here, the western coast of Taiwan. However, the western coast has a lot of rivers, so there is a very rich estuary. The estuary serves as a nursery for shrimps, fish, not just fish, coastal fish, but also pelagic fish, even deep water fish. So by protecting certain areas, especially close to the estuary, and removing whatever pollutants there are, then that could serve as a nursery or a breeding ground for fish, crabs, shrimps, which can be exported from the estuary to other coastal waters or even into deep oceanic waters. So in that, although the type of ecosystem is different, but it has almost the same productivity and the same potential to recover